Welcome to Parent Coaches Unleashed, the podcast where we dive into the highs, lows, and did that really just happen moment of parenting teens and young adults. We're Carrie and Jessica, parent coaches, mythbusters, and occasional referees in the battle of hormones versus common sense.
If you've ever wondered, is this just happening to me? You're not alone. We are here to help you with real talk, expert advice, and hopefully a few laughs along the way. Need more support? We also offer private coaching, workshops, and speaking engagements because sometimes even parents don't have all the answers.
So continue listening as we tackle this parenting journey together.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to today's episode of Parent Coaches Unleashed. Hi, Carrie.
Hi, Jess. How are you?
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
I am great.
This is going to be a fun one. Not too long ago, we posted an Instagram reel of Carrie and I going back and forth talking about different scenarios and are we the asshole for doing that? We actually got a lot of response from our listeners asking the same things with different scenarios. So I would like to preface this by saying we are in no way judging any parents for their actions, but we just want to talk about the other asshole scenarios. So, Carrie, why don't you start us off? Tell us one.
I will. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to read and state like what the parent wrote in.
Okay.
And then Jessica and I are going to just chat about it. So again, not judging, oh yeah, you are an asshole or not. We're just going to discuss the scenario. So
Okay.
first one, I told my son he needs to get drunk before going to college. This way he's in a safe environment.
Well, I would say
First
to
off,
that-
did you ever say that to your kids?
well, before we even go to what we said to our kids, I would just like to compliment that parent on making it through all of high school without having to experience that with her child yet.
Yes.
Did I ever say that to my child? I don't believe that I did. But I feel like my boys had some experience with alcohol before they left for college, so that wasn't new to him. Although we did discuss like common alcohol rules, like you don't mix different colors, and whatever you start the night drinking, you should finish the night drinking. For every drink that you have, you should be drinking enough water so you don't get dehydrated and you feel better in the morning. We talked about being safe, being in a safe situation when you're drinking. So we never said to them, come, let's get drunk together or get drunk before you go to college. We talked more, I guess, about the safety around drinking.
Yes. Yeah.
What about you?
So, no, I never really had to have that conversation. Like, here, let's, set up the scenario. That way you can know what it feels like. They did both have experiences with alcohol and unfortunately weed also. So,
Okay.
we covered all arenas, but I'm back and forth on that. I was the parent. I never would provide alcohol for my
Same.
boys
Mm-hmm.
nor their friends.
Yep.
So I wasn't like saying, well, you're going to do it anyway. Let me create the safe environment. Let me buy
Right.
it for you. I did not do that, but I don't know. I think you have to know your own child. There are some kids that do not like alcohol.
Yep.
And so to force it on them, like you have to drink and you have to get drunk to know what your limit is before you go to college. Again, we have to know our own children. So I
Right.
don't know this individual that wrote in,
Mhm.
but let's just say that her teenager has not had any alcohol and to then force it on them and say, you really need to. I don't know. I mean, look at us.
Well,
Did our
that
parents say to us, you got to get drunk before you go to college?
no,
You know it
they
is.
didn't.
My dad
Um,
offered me a beer here and there to say, like, oh, do you want to taste it? Do you want to? But
right.
then I got in trouble actually for then drinking my parents' alcohol while they were on vacation, so
That
that's a
sounds very
whole
contradictory. We have to
whole
get your
'nother
dad on the, got get
I don't know, again, it's one of those things, I think having the conversation about it and about the safety around it, doesn't give the permission, but doesn't say, "Oh, no, no, don't do it." I think we have to be realistic and give the information, and then they can choose to do what they may.
Do
So,
you think it makes a difference if the child is a boy or a girl?
well, I am sitting in the seat of 2 boys,
Yes, you
so
only have boys,
I
so
might be a little biased.
yep,
I think if I had a daughter, I would go over more of the safety about don't take a drink from someone else, pour your own drink, maybe even buy the little safety drink covers. There's a
yeah,
scrunchie
mhm,
that turns into a drink
a
cover.
cover, yeah, yeah.
Nightcap. I'm plugging nightcap because she is the daughter of someone that Ken, originally my husband, went to Israel with on his first men's Momentum trip,
Oh, get
and
out of
she was
here.
no, and she was at University of Tampa with Ryan, my youngest
Oh,
son,
that's so
in the entrepreneurial
huh,
program. So,
okay.
parents, go purchase nightcap for your children, and I'm not gonna say it has to be for the daughters only, so
No, that's what I wanted to say when you were saying that. Like, I have those conversations with my boys too. Don't take any drinks from
Mhm,
anyone you don't know. And of course, yes, I've had the conversations with Avery, but I've also had them with my sons about drinking safety and especially in this day and age around girls who are drinking. You're we've had those talks. A no means no. If someone is that drunk where they cannot make a rational decision, you walk them home with a friend and that's it. Like you say, make sure they get into their room safely
mhm.
and nothing else.
No, I don't think that this parent is an asshole for making the suggestion to their child that they should try alcohol and should get drunk in a safe environment. Like, that's that parent's choice. Whether the child wants to do it or not, I don't think you should force your child.
Right. Well, that's that I would hope that that is not the case with the parent that they are that's a
Yeah,
whole
we're
different
not going
level.
there.
We're not going there.
Not
No.
going there today. All
No.
right, let's move on to another scenario because we have a few.
Okay. I paid for my child to get their fake ID along the same lines.
Okay. I'm
So
resisting because I wanna judge. I'll be honest.
all right, do you wanna go first? Or you want me to
Yeah.
take this one?
Um, okay. To me, it's one thing if you give your children allowance and they choose to use the money to buy a fake ID versus you directly giving them money and
Mhm.
saying, "Go get yourself a fake ID." So, in terms of fake IDs, I didn't know my kids had one
Okay.
until I saw them use one.
Okay.
So, I came from the school like, I wouldn't wanna know, because if I
Huh.
knew, I would then be giving permission for them to do something that was illegal, and I do know kids who have gotten in trouble by using fake IDs
But,
and
okay,
have
I just wanna play devil's advocate here for a second
yeah,
because if you knew they had alcohol before they went to college, that's illegal too, if they were under 21.
true, true. Not say
No,
I'm being a
I
hypocrite, I'm completely being a hypocrite, and
yep,
some of this
it's
is
it's a slippery
in
slope.
my own parenting, thoughts,
Yep.
right? If they came to me and said, "Mom, I wanna go buy a fake ID, it's $100.
Mhm.
Can I please have the money?" And I would say, "No."
Right.
Either you work to get that money if that's what you wanna do,
Right, right.
or you use the money you already have, but I'm not it goes to me, it's along the same lines of purchasing the alcohol
Right,
for
not
my
yes,
kids, so
not providing it. Yep.
yeah. What about you?
So, I have a funny story for me personally. When I was in college, my mom actually drove me to get my fake ID. She was my she was my ride.
She was your ride.
Um,
Did she pay for it too?
that I r that I
Don't
don't
remember. Okay.
remember. Um, I will say Avery never had one. It was not her thing. I did know that Cody had one. I do not believe I paid for it. I don't believe he asked me for the money for it. I think he paid for it himself, and Jackson does not have one. I don't know. We'll see. I have 2 legal kids now and just one more to have to deal with this situation, and I don't know what's going to be. It is not a conversation we have had yet.
So Jackson, though, does have 2 older siblings, so maybe
Yes,
he'll just go to them
maybe.
and ask for their guidance on the situation.
That is one plus about having multiple children.
Um,
Alright, give us another scenario. Moving
okay.
on.
Alright. I was at a restaurant and the server was really cute. So I gave her my son's Instagram to follow and connect. This is not me
Oof.
saying this, this is a
No, no,
mom.
no, I know. This
Right,
is
right, right,
from
right.
a listener.
So am I an
Oh.
asshole?
Um, so again, I have had real life experience on my own with this. It was before social media came around. I feel like I've shared this story before, but I'm not 100%. My parents were at a local diner. They ran into some friends that they knew. Their son had just graduated from medical school. And I think my parents and the generations before them, there was a certain prominence, if you will, about being a doctor. And my dad, without asking, gave my number to them to give to their son. And we went on 2 dates, and I did not think we were compatible.
Hmm.
However, the guy's parents stopped talking to my parents because they couldn't believe that I was not
Was not
interested
interested in
in
their
their son.
doctor son?
Yes. And I will say I said to my dad, "Don't ever do that again. Please, not
Yeah.
without my knowledge."
Well, I think it's different than for this mom, because it's not a family friend, it's a complete
Right, it's a complete stranger,
stranger.
and it's also different. I don't I would argue that it's different because it's not as personal giving someone your Instagram
Yeah,
account to follow
than an actual phone
than an
number.
actual number
Yeah,
with a phone call.
yeah,
The person would have to accept them as a friend or even engage in a conversation with them, which you could choose not to. But my rule of thumb here is ask your kids first.
yeah,
You know, if you have the conversation, "Oh, if I run into someone cute and, she seems compatible with you, do I give your number? What is it? Your handle, your Snap? What do I give that to them, or are you on your own here?" You know, permission. Always I would ask permission before doing any of that.
yeah.
That mom's ballsy, though. Could you imagine? I don't know that I would say, "Oh, I have such a cute son for you." It just sounds so
I mean, I'm
antiquated.
hoping that during the night, they got to know a little bit the personality of,
The server,
the
yeah.
server,
Uh-huh.
and it wasn't just based on the fact that she was cute,
Right.
right? That she had a great personality and they joked with her and they, maybe got to
Mhm.
know her a little bit. So
Yeah.
let's go on that. And
Yep.
you know what? I think if you do it, you just got to come clean
Yeah.
with your kid that this is what I did. And so, but then here's the scenario. So then what if she doesn't reach out? Or what if she does reach out and, you know,
Well,
I don't know. I think we insert ourselves like I know I do not want to be a matchmaker for my
either of your
children.
sons. Yeah, I get it.
Nope. No. So, ballsy. We'll go with ballsy.
Yes.
She's
Not an
ballsy.
asshole, ballsy.
Nope, she's ballsy.
Okay.
Alright.
Um, okay. My son went to college and I cleaned out his room and made myself a she shed.
I'm gonna say not asshole. I'm gonna
Not
say
it.
smart. Smart woman. Again, I think it goes back to communication, right? Like, if you're communicating with your child about redoing their room when they go off to school, I think you're okay. But if you have had no conversation and they come home for the first time Thanksgiving or winter break and they're like, "Where's my
Uh,
room?"
where am I
Um,
sleeping?
yeah, well, I don't know, maybe she put one of those pull-out
A
couches in
little
there, so
Murphy
they
bed in
still
there?
they have a bed,
Right.
but now it is completely, redecorated to her taste. So,
While I really appreciate what this mom did, I don't know that I could. Like, I especially right after college, like, maybe after they got a job and they were not living in my house anymore, but I feel like it's still their home. They're still coming home for the holidays, and I a little bit, I feel like, what are you telling them if you just took over their room and made it to something for yourself that this isn't home anymore, you're just a visitor, you don't have a room, you don't have
yeah.
a place. I don't know, it's not for me. I completely if that's your thing, awesome. I would agree with you to have a conversation beforehand, but it's not something I could ever picture myself doing because
Alright, so
to
what
me,
if you
there's nothing greater than when I have a full house,
yeah,
and I love it, and I wouldn't
what
wanna
if
take that away.
they're all college graduates?
Yep.
Are you clear to take one of the rooms,
Oh, college graduates and they're out adulting? Yes. I think that's completely different.
even if you stay in the same house? You don't have to keep
No, yeah,
their
absolutely,
room.
yes, mhm, yeah,
Okay.
and I think we're at the age now where so many of our friends are starting to downsize, move into different homes that they
Mhm.
did not raise their kids in. And I they don't
Well,
have a room set up for
that's what I was gonna say, that's another question. If you're downsizing, do you still keep the number of bedrooms for the number of kids that you have?
well, I think that defeats the purpose of downsizing. I mean, if you're downsizing, y unless you're coming from a place that's a lot bigger,
Mhm.
so I if I was to downsize, I would not have 1 bedroom for each of my kids. I don't think so. I think that defeats the whole purpose.
Got it. She wasn't asking that question, but
No, that's just an aside. Well, what about you? When you guys moved, was it important for you to have for each of your boys to have their own space?
yes. But mine's different because well, number 1, I didn't downsize, I just moved somewhere completely different. I moved to a completely different
Right.
state.
Yep.
Let me preface this by when we moved to Utah and built another house, they do each have a room here in my house.
Mhm.
Now, I call it Devin's room and Ryan's room, but they're also guest rooms because
Right.
we thankfully have a lot of our friends and family come visit, which I absolutely love.
Right.
So,
So it's Devin/Jessica's room, Ryan/Jackson's room.
exactly. So they're shared spaces.
Right.
Now, in Florida, we did downsize and we're in a condo. So, no, there's 2 bedrooms. So, it's our bedroom
Right.
and then a guest room. So, who's ever staying over or coming to visit has that room.
Right. But your boys
So
also, when you're in Florida, both have their own apartments
apartments,
and
correct,
they're adulting. So
correct. Yeah.
I think that's an important piece to it. Like, where are your kids at the time
Mhm.
of your move?
Yes. So,
So,
alright. Here is another one. When my daughter got her license, I would not allow any passengers in her car,
hmm.
but she
So
doesn't state whether she was allowed to be a passenger in other new drivers' cars. But let's just go with she could not have any passengers in her car.
I actually know many parents who had this rule for, let's call it 3 months, 6 months, whatever it was. They were not allowed to drive anyone else. They were not allowed to have any other passengers in their car, and they were not allowed to be a passenger in a new driver's car.
Alright. Is there a time frame? Couple months, 6 months, a year? Like, what's
I
considered
I
a new
think that's
driver?
yeah, I think that's arbitrary. You have
Yeah.
to decide as a family what works best for you. It's an individual preference. Everyone
Yeah.
has to decide what works for them. But listen, I know parents who um have given friends the talk, like nobody's on their phones, you're not playing loud music, you're not taking selfies or using the phone using video videoing when they're driving
Mhm.
as new drivers. It, and especially in Florida, they're so young.
Yeah.
I feel like when they get their license, they are 16, and I really feel like that is young to be driving. Um,
Yeah. Florida's a
so
challenging place to drive because you're mixing very young with very old drivers,
yeah.
and,
It's like a recipe for disaster.
I
Yes.
mean, or we could look at it like our children have learned to be very defensive drivers
Yeah.
because there are so many different things going on the roads, and we do have a lot of highways. We have a lot of highways.
Yeah.
The town, our kids grow up in have a lot of roundabouts, so they gotta learn that.
Yeah,
Um,
not only that, like, your job as a parent, I believe, is keeping your kids safe.
yeah,
If you're implementing these rules to do just that, who cares? You're never an asshole if your objective is to keep your kid
safe.
safe.
Absolutely. Alright, so one last one.
Okay. Oh, my son begged to get a dog. We set down firm guidelines for taking care of the dog. He didn't follow any of them, so we got rid of the dog. Oh my gosh.
This is a hard one because we're dog people.
I ca
Um, however, so
I so badly wanna call this parent an asshole just for getting rid of the
okay,
dog, but I'm
so
not.
wait,
I'm not
I'm
because we're
gonna
not
I'm gonna
judging.
I'm gonna put myself out there as I do often, but my kids wanted a dog really badly, and, my parents were visiting, and I think it was Devon's either 12th or 13th birthday, and we were somewhere where one of the, adoption agencies was kind of taking over a
Sure, uh-huh.
section of the mall trying for people to adopt dogs. So, of course, we went in and we adopted a dog, and we adopted a dog under my parents did the adoption, and we said, "Okay, we're gonna give this a test run." Um, the dog was I don't know, they said it was 3, it was probably only a year or a year and a half, what we found
Okay.
out later. So, we gave a test run, I had a trainer, I had the boys involved, and no one participated. The kids were just too young to really participate. The dog had some issues. He obviously was either abused or beaten. He had strange, violent reactions sometimes to different male voices, and I
Okay.
never knew when it was gonna happen. So, we did get rid of the dog. However, because my parents were the ones to adopt, the backup plan was that they would take Scooter,
And
and
did they?
so they did.
Okay.
So Scooter went from our home in Florida to their home in Asheville, North Carolina. So I was firm on that.
Okay.
Obviously, the dog went to a loving home. They
Yep.
had no kids. It was just the 2 of them. They had another dog. The dogs got along well. Um, but I did have to.
So, um, okay, so we had a situation where we had to give back a dog as well. Um, Avery was a toddler, Cody was a baby. He was only maybe 6 months old, and both Lonnie and I grew up with dogs. I had never not had a dog, and, we rescued a boxer, a young boxer who they said was tested around kids, and, um, our dog before that was an older boxer, and so she was calm. We had never experienced a boxer puppy, and they all have an insane amount of energy.
Mm.
So while this dog may have been tested around kids, I don't know if she was ever tested around a toddler because every time Avery ran, the
Oh.
the dog would run after her and tackle her.
Oh, geez.
Um, so she had, like, scratch marks on her face, Avery, and, not only that, but she absolutely destroyed our house,
Mm.
and I said to Lonnie, I cannot do this. I cannot do this with 2
2
little kids,
babies.
2
Yeah.
babies at home, and I just don't have it in me. So, we did contact the rescue agency that we, adopted her from, and they found her a new home with a boxer brother.
Okay.
So, but it was awful. It was
Yeah.
such a horrible feeling to have to give up this dog, but, I I mentally, I cou and physically, I could not put the time into her that she needed.
Mhm.
So, we had to give up a dog then too, but I think those both of our stories are a little different than our listener, but
Yeah.
the more I'm thinking about it, what this listener did was she set a guideline. She set firm boundaries for her child, and her child did not observe them. So, it wasn't like she one day said, "Oh, the dog ran away," or, she was upfront. She said, "This is what I expect of you. This will be the consequence," and she just followed through.
Yeah.
So
I guess
while,
we have to
yes,
consider the age too,
yep,
right?
there's a lot of factors. Yes, because also if you're the adult in the house bringing a pet in, you have to know that you're going to have to assume some responsibility
Mhm.
for the pet. I mean, if your child is not driving, you're going to have to be the one to take the dog to the vet.
Yeah.
There are certain responsibilities that do fall on the adults in the house. But let's just say, for argument's sake, because we don't have a lot of details here, but let's say it was you have to feed them breakfast before you go to school, or you have to take them for a walk as soon as you come home from school. And if the child wasn't following these rules, then I I I can understand why the parent
Mhm.
followed through with the consequence that they set out and found a new home for their dog.
Yeah, yeah, I actually think it's a very, as much as, I don't like the fact that someone had to rehome their dog, right? It's very admirable because there would probably be a lot of parents that even though they said this, they would just say, "All right, well," and that it'll just be my responsibility,
Right,
and
right,
the
right, right, right.
parents would just take over the responsibility that they wanted the child to do.
Yeah,
So, kudos to that mom, and we're just gonna go with the dog went to a really
good home.
happy second home.
Yes.
All
Cool.
right, well, whew,
We would love to hear your stories. Have
yeah,
you ever been in a position when you thought you were an asshole? If so, drop us a line at info@parentcoachesunleashed.com and let us know.
all right, thanks for listening, and as always, follow us on Instagram, Parent Coaches Unleashed, and be sure to subscribe and share this episode with a friend. Thanks for listening. Thank you for listening to this episode of Parent Coaches Unleashed with Carrie and Jessica. Together, we can raise the next generation of independent, capable, and compassionate young adults.
We encourage you to send us an email with questions and feedback to info@parentcoachesunleashed.com. Please remember, you are not alone on this parenting journey.